But when I felt trapped, that's when doors would open. They said God makes a way, that's how I know I'm chosen. You can throw stones and try to judge me, but God loves me, God loves me. You can chastise and try to treat me ugly, but God loves me, God loves me. You can't be insolent and act like you're above me, but God loves me.
Ready.
The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Tyson Fury says Anthony Joshua would never beat a good heavyweight in his prime. Take a listen.
Me, right? I had 3 years out of the ring. I was on drugs and alcohol every day. I was fat as I was 28 stone, yeah? And I come back and in 6 months I fought Deontay Wilder. And at the time he was the most feared knockout artist in the history of our sport. And I said, right, the fat bald man will fight you because all the rest of them won't, because you keep going back and forward, this, that and the other. A side, B side, money, this, that and the other. I said, I'll fight. All of a sudden I've gone in there and absolutely battered him. And everyone's like, oh, well, is that what it was all about? They don't want to fight prime. Like Joshua's fought not one heavyweight in his prime. Like he fought Klitschko at 42 years old, Pulev 40 odd, Povetkin 40 odd. And they're all like former good men back in the early 2000s, late 2000s, but not in 2020 odd. They're like they were good men 10 years ago.
Do you not believe he wants you now? He said he wants you now.
How can he have me now if I've got a rematch with Wilder? And the big thing is as well, right, I tell you what they always do, and he already fell victim to it, Joshua. They talk about fights that's not happening. Like everybody wants to talk to me about the Joshua fight. Yeah. They don't care about the fight that I'm having. And all of a sudden, they want me to talk over what I'm doing and then get chinned. And all of a sudden, I'm laid on my back flat by Wilder and he's taking my position.
Is that the danger of this fight?
All right, so you heard it from Tyson Fury. Anthony Joshua beat these guys like Klitschko, Pulev, and Povetkin when they were old men and they were not in their prime. Said he isn't beating a heavyweight in their prime. I'm going to turn it over to you, Trill Dollar Bill. What's your reaction to what Tyson Fury said?
A bunch of rubbish. Look, anything they could do to discredit AJ, they would do it. And why are you talking about AJ, man? Like you guys, man, listen, you know that nobody want to see this fight. So the first thing you do is bring up my man AJ to try to sell this fight. AJ fought Klitschko. Klitschko's next fight was AJ after he fought you. Am I correct? And then he lost to Tyson Fury and then he lost to AJ, right? It was like,
yes.
That's how it went down, right? What are you saying? What are you saying? Look, I don't. When Tyson Fury talks, man, I don't listen. I respect him in the ring, but outside when he be talking, sometimes I gotta take what he says. Sometimes, man, I know he's just promoting this fight that nobody wants to see. That's how I look at it, man. AJ's the man, and you know AJ's the man. That's why you bring him up in every interview that comes up to promote this fight. You know what I'm saying? Look, Tyson Fury, I got a lot of love for you. I think you can fight good. I think you're gonna put do a good job in the ring against Wilder. But as far as talking, man, sometimes I just can't. I just can't with you sometimes. But I like you in the ring.
I conspiracy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dollar Bill.
No,
Dollar Bill, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
All right, G.
All right. Before I answer the question,
Oh,
I gotta provide some context. Now, Kaden, before we started this show, me and Kaden used to go back and forth about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder, right? And I ain't gonna lie, I actually used this very same talking point that Tyson Fury is using, right? Now, however, I didn't necessarily, I was using it because I wasn't necessarily hating on AJ, but I kind of was, right? I was bigging up my man, so you had to big him up by hating on the other guy, right? Now, this is where I guess as a more mature G, but
There's no such thing. No such.
Tyson Fury's not factoring in. You're only as good as your competition, right? So if you're saying all of these guys are 40 years old, blah blah blah, it isn't AJ's fault that he's in this era where the top dudes are now in their 40s. You know, like that's not his fault. There's nothing he can do about that. He can't reverse time, right? So I don't think it's fair for Tyson Fury to actually use that point, right? Because when you really think about it, because then he the way he worded it, he was like good heavyweights, right? So you could say Joseph Parker, you say Andy Ruiz, but I'm pretty sure Tyson Fury will make the argument. Well, maybe not Joseph Parker, that's his man's. So hopefully he'll keep it 100. You know what I mean? Those guys are still in their primes, you know, like they're also dangerous men. They got fast hands, lethal when it comes to knockout power. You know, you got to give AJ that credit. He beat both of these guys in their prime. Now, he may say that Andy Ruiz isn't a good heavyweight. So then take Andy Ruiz out. At least you could give him Joseph Parker, who was actually a champion, right? And the only other person I could think of, you know, that fits this mold would be Deontay Wilder, right? And to AJ's credit, AJ did offer him, you know, a deal. Wilder decided not to take it, right? So I see what Tyson Fury is trying to do, but I feel like what he's doing is painting a narrative that is trying to discredit Anthony Joshua as if that's Anthony Joshua's fault, that he's in this era where the top dudes were just happen to be in their 40s and the young guys for the young good guys aren't fighting Anthony Joshua. But we've seen time and time again, Anthony Joshua is constantly fighting champions, top ranked dudes. Like, so I don't understand what Tyson Fury is really trying to say, right? So again, you're only as good as the era you're in. You know what I'm saying? If your era has a bunch of 40-year-old dudes, and on top of that, too, it's a heavyweight division. So 40 doesn't mean you're washed up. It doesn't mean that in the heavyweight division. At 40, you can still crack, you can still move, you can do a lot of things. It's not like it's a lighter weight where you got to rely so much on movement. You know, at 40, you still got that power. And we seen that Klitschko fight was a war. It wasn't like Klitschko was way past his prime and all that stuff. That was an excellent fight, you know, and that was a younger AJ when you think about it, you know, like now we're looking at a more seasoned, more developed Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't fair, but I have to be transparent. I done used that argument before back in the day, but now I don't feel like that applies.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish. It's rubbish because what he's only basing that off of what? How many fights he done fought? Dillian White. Dillian is young. Andy Ruiz is young. All these other guys that he done beat and sparked out. These guys was young. You know what I'm saying?
Fury's response would be, "Oh, but they weren't good." That's what I'm saying.
You're better than anybody else. That's all he got is Klitschko on his films.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, gift the gab, man. All you got as long as the fans believe it, he's rocking with it, you know. So
TVE.
Man, Fury, stop it, man. Like my co-host said, I'm gonna keep it like this because you fought Klitschko, AJ fought him right after. 2 years later, whatever, it doesn't matter. You beat him by decision. He knocked him out. So for you to sit there and say Klitschko was in the prime, it's hard to believe because we had two different outcomes from two different fighters, and I'm not going to discredit your fights. And AJ, I'm not gonna. I'm not even on board with that. So for me to even like hear Fury talk, Fury just gets into that moment where he tries to psych himself up. He stares in the mirror like I am sexy. I am sexy. You know that's Fury's mindset. Yo, I gotta hype myself up. I gotta be my biggest fan. And if that's what you gotta do to keep you in that mindset for every match, do you? But for us, it's just talk. It's just talk. Or for me, it's just talk.
Rubbish.
It's rubbish. It's waste talk, whatever. But at the end of the day, we all know the real, and I'm not even tripping over it.
That's right. You talk about
This
Klitschko.
brings up a deeper issue in boxing because I'll give you an example. Anthony Joshua beats Vladimir Klitschko, and later on, people say he was past his prime. He was old. Floyd Mayweather beats Canelo Alvarez, and some people say, well, he was a baby. He wasn't ready yet. So then so now a victory's not enough. You got to beat someone at the right time too. Was Vladimir Klitschko still not the man who reigned for 10 years? You saw him fight Anthony Joshua. Did his skills look diminished? No. If anything, he looked more motivated to beat AJ than he did to beat Tyson Fury. And this is not to take away from Tyson Fury's victory, but I'm saying I watched Vladimir Klitschko fight Tyson Fury and look gun shy. Now, I was just talking to Ned about this earlier. There are reasons why Klitschko could have been gun shy. Because Tyson Fury was making him pay for every mistake he made, which is fine. But at some point, you have to be willing to take the risk to be great. And what you saw in the fight with Anthony Joshua was Klitschko was willing to do that. He got up off the deck, put Joshua on the deck, went and was willing to take the risk that he wasn't willing to take against Tyson Fury. I see you, bro.
No. I see where you was going with, right? But I seen a different fight, and I seen a different fight. I seen a guy that hit and hold it, and a guy that went in there and stopped another guy. That's what I seen. I see with Tyson Fury, he hit and he hold it to a points victory, and I seen that a young Joshua went in there and he stopped the guy.
No, I mean, I'm with you. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is I'm going off of the Klitschko because he's saying Klitschko was past his prime. And see, the Klitschko I saw fight Fury wasn't willing to take any risk. He let all the stuff you're saying happen. He just didn't. But with Joshua, this dude really went out there and tried to win. Now, I'm not discrediting Fury. I always gave and I always give Fury credit as the man for dethroning Vladimir Klitschko. But to act like Klitschko was washed up by the time AJ got him is not being truthful. You're not being realistic because that man got up off the deck, put AJ on the deck. They went and had their battle, and it took Anthony Joshua putting it on him in the 11th for that fight to end. So don't act like Klitschko was washed up. And it also brings me to the point, you can't really win in boxing sometimes. If you get a guy like when Floyd got Canelo, they say you got him too early. Was Canelo still not Canelo? He was still a great fighter. He still had great victories, and there were still people who believed he was going to beat Floyd. But once Floyd outclasses him, oh, he was a baby. It shouldn't count. Right? Oh, it doesn't count. He would beat Floyd now. Well, yeah, Floyd's like 40-some odd years old now. You're overlooking the fact that Floyd had to put on weight. Oh, Floyd made him come down to 152. They wanted, they agreed to that. They offered that. Y'all act like Floyd's some big dude. Floyd moved up in weight. Said, fine, I'll give him. You know, so this is the point I'm making. People always look for reasons to discredit victories. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Tyson Fury's doing that. However, Tyson, there's a flaw in your system. Because according to you, right, Joshua is beating these guys when they're past their prime. But you just called out Dillian White. Last time that I checked, Anthony Joshua beat Dillian White first, knocked him out in his 14th professional, was it 15th? In his 15th professional fight. You're going to be fighting him after Deontay Wilder, after he's been knocked out by Joshua, Povetkin, dropped by Rivas, dropped by Joseph Parker. Then that's when you would get him. Would that not be you getting Dillian White past his prime? Using your logic now, not what I believe, but simply just saying, if you want to throw in this whole thing that you're saying, you would be getting him years later after Joshua got him with more wear and tear, more knockdowns. Right? So would you not be getting a Dillian White that's past his prime? Using your logic now, that's all I'm saying. He ain't beat no good heavyweights in their prime. So again, like you said, what do you call Andy Ruiz? What do you call Joseph Parker? And Fury, you said Joseph Parker was good. There's a press conference out there when Joseph Parker was going to fight Huey Fury, where they said, you never say anything bad about Joseph Parker. Tyson, why? He said, because I have a lot of respect for this man. This man's a real fighting man. Not like the buffed up bodybuilder and not like the basketball skinny hoop man with spaghetti legs, Deontay. That's what you said. You picked up Joseph Parker. Now he's no good when Anthony Joshua beats him, right? And this is what I'm getting at. So a lot of what he's saying doesn't make any sense, but, I think it's like what G said. He's going to big himself up because what he does have is he beat Vladimir Klitschko before Joshua did, and he beat Deontay Wilder before AJ could get to him. So he could always say, I did it first. Ray J style.
Ray J style. Please, I'm just like, everybody, Phantom's album is out right now on all streaming services. It's called Destined for Stardom. Please go check that out. And while you're at it, I want you to go to YouTube and I want you to check out Phantom's video for Walk With Me. It's out right now on YouTube. And coming tomorrow, that's Monday, Zombie Ray will be releasing his video for Facts, and that will be out on YouTube. I want y'all to please like and subscribe. Let us know how you feel in the comment section, and please check us out on all streaming services. Our podcast on all streaming services. You know who we are. We're the Boxing Bros.
When things seem bleak, walk with me. To navigate these streets, walk with me.